Hi, everyone. I'm Ananda, the Galactic Mystic. Let's talk about the Sagittarius new moon solar eclipse, the final one of 2021. So if you are new to my channel, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. And if you have not yet subscribed, please take a moment and hit that little flower of life in the bottom corner. That way you will not miss a thing. So here we are. We have arrived. Final eclipse of 2021, and we are in an acceleration. An acceleration is at hand. So at this point, at the time that this eclipse is occurring, Neptune has stationed direct and is beginning his march toward another exact Neptune opposition to the United States Neptune. So whenever a planet stations, all of the concerns of that planet become particularly pronounced. And with Neptune, it is all things water, liquid, illusions, smoke and mirrors, delusions, sleight of hand, spiritualizing things that we don't understand, unconditional love, endings. There's really a lot that Neptune is concerned with. And so for the United States, especially, things are going to begin to move faster and faster, and many changes are coming. The United States Pluto Return is in February. We're coming closer to that. And honestly, this idea that there will be a quote unquote return to normal is the biggest illusion of them all. Mourning will be extensive and is utterly appropriate. So I did talk about the Neptune opposition for the United States in a video I did a while back. I will put that in the link in the description box below, because whenever we have an opposition, that usually represents some type of choice or a choice point. And when we have a Neptune opposition with a country, this is really something. And of course, we have had a couple exact oppositions already with the United States. But anyway, I talk all about that in that video. So check that out, because this sort of theme of facing our illusions and choosing what we're going to do about it is kind of loud here. Another thing I want to say while we're talking about United States astrology and the Pluto return of the United States is that while I am not a financial advisor of any sort, nor am I a financial astrologer, I do see great potential for a stock market crash of sorts, coinciding somewhere along with the United States Pluto return in February of 2022. The extent of this, I cannot say, but I do also see cryptocurrencies and metals like gold and silver rising pretty soon after that. I will put a chart here that shows that, so you can check that out for more details on that. So this new moon begins the lunation of the lessons of truth. The Gemini Sagittarius axis is the axis of truth in navigational astrology and encompasses and includes all things on that spectrum. And that would be, things like the truth being slippery, hard to figure out, to the truth being a righteous crusade, to the truth being the ultimate truth of truths, whatever that may be. Blindness and hubris, are always potential dangers when we're dealing with this kind of energy. And we have been marinating in that for the last year plus, with the nodal axis being in Gemini and Sagittarius. And so we are beginning to close out this cycle, and it will get more intense at the end. So here we are. Sorry about that. The dogs are barking as always. Okay, so eclipses are portals, and the energy that they create lasts for much longer than just the day or week that they occur. It generally lasts for about 6 months beyond the date that they occur. So basically, because we have an eclipse season every 6 months, it's almost like you can think of it as like a relay race where one eclipse season holds court for six months and then passes the baton to the next eclipse season. So what we are beginning now is not just a blip in time. This is a longer game, maybe longer than many of us realize, and also maybe longer than some of us wish it would be. But the truth is that what this eclipse season is triggering will last for at least 6 months of big change. And it's going to be big. And we're going to get into that in a moment. So a Sagittarius new moon in general asks us to plant new seeds of what we know to be true. We're asked to have a vision, like you can think of it like the vision of an eagle in a wide berth of vision. And it's helpful to be idealistic and not particularly specific. Thoughts like, what if it could work out much better than you can even imagine? Can we hold that vision without knowing the details or fussing about the details? And can we keep the faith under those circumstances? Things like commerce, law, banks, religion, philosophy, education, and all the like larger bodies that are involved with those things are in place for a reset that this eclipse is activating. And considering what's going on in our world, it's easy to imagine that big changes in these realms could actually be over the horizon for the next 6 months and beyond. And utterly, I think that's a good thing. I think we are, I think we're on a good track, ultimately. There is a fated element to this new moon eclipse, and that's because it's conjunct the great attractor, the mysterious great attractor, and it is exactly conjunct the United States ascendant. And so this is how, when we're talking about a country, now I'm talking about the Sibley chart for the United States. Not everyone agrees with what the ascendant of the United States is. But I really like the Sibley chart because, well, I'll tell you in a moment. So the ascendant of a country is how that country is seen, how it responds. And, with the ascendant of the United States being conjunct the great attractor natally, sort of screams of the United States having kind of a fated touch of fate anyway. And that is being lit up and activated by this lunation. So this is the same place that Pluto was at 9/11 and Saturn was opposing on 9/11. So that's pretty interesting. So when the great attractor is involved, it's almost like a tractor beam of inertia. And once it's set in motion, it's difficult to escape. Now, sometimes we can see what's coming, but even seeing what's coming, we can't seem to change the course, or at least it feels that way. But ultimately, it's a beautiful thing because the events utterly lead us to a place of destiny. And this is the same for people who have the great attractor in their natal chart in a prominent way. Events will occur in their lives that will lead them down a certain path to a destined outcome. And so this place of destiny is utterly where we're going. This is going to involve new types of healing, new types of teaching, new types of philosophy, and new types of leaders. That's you. That's you. This eclipse is deeply, deeply connected to the divine justice of the land. There are echoes of Atlantis and corruption and abrupt changes and the desire to fight for and protect the vulnerable. So another interesting thing about this new moon eclipse in Sagittarius, it's exactly conjunct fixed star Rastaban. And I'm talking like exact within 6 minutes of exactitude, like really, really, a really tight conjunction. Now, this star Rastaban is in the constellation of Draco and is one of the dragon's eyes. It's known as the dragon's eye. So this gives us access to mystical insight, wisdom, shaman vision, and fearsome perception. Now, in ancient Arabia, the Draco constellation was known as mother camels. Now, this is really interesting. The mother camels were seen as a group of mama camels, who were protecting their young from attacking hyenas. And the star Rastaban was one of the mother camels in this instance. Further in ancient Egypt, this constellation was connected to the hippopotamus-headed goddess Tawaret. I'm not sure how that's pronounced, but it's T-A-W-A-R-E-T, Tawaret. I don't know. But anyway, she was the great protector goddess of childbirth and of pregnancy. And so we can see this theme interwoven throughout this lunation. This is the theme of the natural protective instinct of the mother and ultimately of nature herself. It was only later when Draco was associated with, monsters and serpents being evil, and, the fall of man because of Eve and the serpent in the Garden of Eden. And, that's just a really interesting turnaround, isn't it? And how we start with the nurturing, protective energy of the mother being associated with this constellation. And then we end up with it being, viewed as something evil. How do we get there? It's wild. And how do we return this into a place of balance is really the question. So there's still much that's hidden and unknown, and we can all surely agree on who needs to be protected. And this is where I'm going to mention how interesting it is that the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell is underway now. And surely we're gonna find some things out with that. And I know that you and I will not allow certain crimes to continue to be swept under the rug. We want to know the truth. The people, you and I, we've had enough. Justice will reign, and we are all the mother camels, the eyes of the dragon, the serpents of wisdom. And it's up to us to protect the innocent. On this, we can agree, even if we can't agree on a lot of other things, but I like to think we agree on more than we disagree. This is going to be a really powerful time. I, for one, am excited, yet I admit that the feeling of the surges of energy can be overwhelming at times. The energy is both wonderful and overwhelming sometimes. So if you are feeling it that way, know that you're not alone. Come back to the community tab on YouTube or on social media or on my website for my daily updates, because As we go through this lunation, each stage of the lunar cycle, we have certain instructions and certain guidance, and it's just really beautiful to follow it in that way. Additionally, this is a really, really good, important time to fortify your energetic protections. I'm going to put a link to a video of mine that I did about how to cleanse your house and how to grid your home. Check it out. Also, at this point, it's not ready, but I am putting together an example of a property protective ritual that I did on our property. When it's ready, I'll put it in the links below, or you can check my website for that. Doing some sigil magic, things like that. So I'm sending you all of my love. It's going to be wild, wild times, and we are in it together. I'll see you next time.